Love the timing of the Labor Day Classic.
It doesn't matter what each team's been doing in that season. Each team's going to bring their best when we come out there.
We don't like them. They don't like us.
Those guys come ready to play. We look forward to that September game. And, the craziest thing is we know we have to see them a few days later, so that just intensifies everything.
They got the crown right now, and if you want the crown, you got to beat the guys who got it.
Battle of the best in the West.
Big-time players playing big-time games.
In 2014, the Edmonton Eskimos had the second-best record in the CFL. They beat every team but one. They couldn't beat the Calgary Stampeders. That, of course, included Labor Day Monday. They've lost 3 straight in this regard, taking on the Stampeders for the first time in 2015 and looking to make a statement on the road against their Alberta rivals to the south. A difficult place to win a football game if you're a visiting team. They will try again in part 2 of our Mark's Labor Day Monday coverage here on the CFL on TSN. After Hamilton decisively beat the Argos, we have part 2 in the Battle of Alberta. Rod Smith along with Milt Stegall, Matt Dunnigan, and Chris Schultz. If you look back to 2014, they met 3 times in the regular season. Calgary won them all and then beat the Eskimos again in the Western Final, moving on to win the Grey Cup. Schultz, what do you watch for in this game today?
Well, if we learned one thing in this year's Canadian Football League, you don't need 1, you don't need 2, you need 3 competent quarterbacks. And for James Franklin, this is a great opportunity. Not only if he can perform as a polished quarterback in this style of football, but also he gives great help for the Edmonton Eskimos in the long run, because I do think Mike Riley will be anointed the minutes he's healthy, and he will come back and play some great football. But for James Franklin, if he has success on the road against Calgary, against this defense, it not only helps his professional career, it really enhances the future success of the Edmonton Eskimos.
Absolutely. It does. Got to have good quality quarterbacks. I think he's one of the best right now, young talent that we've seen this year. Charleston Hughes is a defensive team leader for the Calgary Stampeders. I think every fan in the CFL knows that. Last week, he was replaced by Brandon Boudreau in a victory over the Winnipeg Blue. he gets his team to play fast. We're going to have to, because Matt Walter's back in the lineup for the Calgary Stampeders. He missed the game last week. I really like this kid. I think he's been phenomenal in the absence of John Cornish, and I believe that's the key to their success on the football ground. It opens up everything for Bo Levi Mitchell and Rogers and the rest of the boys in the receiving corps. So Matt Walter, he plays fast, just like Chris Jones wants his Edmonton Eskimos too.
Well, my hidden players in this game are the two best multi-purpose players outside of Stephon Logan and Kendall Lawrence and also Timmy Brown. Unique to the CFL, you need a guy that can return punts, return kicks, that can play receiver, that can play running back. Those guys have a skill set that's very unique. When all this is over at the end of this game, I wonder whoever has the highest number of yards, all-purpose, will it be the Edmonton Eskimos and Kendall Lawrence, or will it be Timmy Brown and the Calgary Stampeders? That team will win.
Well, and it's for first place, too, right now. 7-2 versus 6-3. So for the second straight year, they have that on the line as well. And Wayne Lefebvre of Calgary, you can win the ultimate $25,000 home theater package from Visions Electronics if a kickoff is returned for a touchdown in this game, thanks to Safeway's Touchdown to Win promotion. And if it should happen for a second time, well, you could be in store for $1 million. So certainly, good luck with that, Wayne. Chris Cuthbert, Glenn Suter standing by at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Part 2 of our Marks Labor Day Monday doubleheader. First meeting of the year. Eskimos, Stampeders. Enjoy the game, everybody.
Alberta arch rivals with first place on the line in the Marks Labor Day Classic from Calgary.
Bo Levi Mitchell is back. Got off to a slow start by his standards, but he is 7-2 this year, 22-4 on his career, and has the Stamps on a 4-game win streak. On the other sideline, James Franklin is in just start number 2, but got off to a good start last week over the Toronto Argonauts, threw for over 300 yards, did not make the big mistake. No interceptions in his first start a week ago.
Chris Jones 18-9 as a head coach, looking for his first Labor Day victory and his first as a head coach over the Stampeders. John Hufnagel's Stamps have at least 7 wins or more in the front 9 for the 3rd consecutive year, and they won 5 of the last 6 Labor Day Classics. Flyover from Four-Wing Cold Lake to set the tone, and from the pregame toss, you know it's Labor Day. More on that in just a few minutes.
Military Appreciation Day as well, and a special hello to my new teammates, the 417 Squadron at Cold Lake. Let's get this thing going.
Newcomer Sean White kicking it off for the Eskimos. Perfect football day here. Temperature 13 degrees, and Tim Brown cut down before he reaches the 30-yard line as Bo Levi Mitchell leads Calgary's offense onto the field.
12-2 at McMahon Stadium is Bo Levi Mitchell's record. 4 of the last 5 games over 300 yards. The #1 receiver for him and in the league is Eric Rogers. Talked about him in the pregame show. And Dan Vader-Kyle is back in the lineup at right tackle.
Vader-Kyle coming back off a broken leg in week number 3. Stamps start at their 27-yard line, and the handoff to Matt Walter, who didn't touch the football last week. Walter has 5 on the initial carry of the game.
Some of the players to watch for the Edmonton Eskimos on defense. One of the top defenses in the CFL. 5 sacks for Odell Willis in the last 3 games. We may see Patrick Watkins, Chris Jones likes to do this, moved around to cover Eric Rogers. And if they don't do that, they're pretty good with John Ojo on the other side on Rogers.
Eskimos defense #1 against the run and the pass, and we've got a jackrabbit just going the distance. Down to the goal line, touchdown. We've had this visitor here before, but I'm not sure we've had a Labor Day appearance.
He's just taking his time. He's going to hang out here and get a good seat for the Labor Day Classic.
Well, that might break some tension.
There was some, even at the coin toss.
Thought we were in a heavyweight fight. Here's 2nd and 5. And Mitchell out of the backfield to Markway McDaniel. And it's a first down at the 40-yard line. McDaniel brought down by Otha Foster and the safety Ryan Hines.
You don't be surprised at all to see Markway McDaniel become a favorite target in this particular game. He understands the Labor Day rivalry. He understands the competition and what the type of physicality you're going to see in the game this afternoon. That's when the veterans step up.
And almost an automatic completion. 50th target of the year, and that was his 40th catch. 8 yards and a first down and a pump and go. Looking down the sidelines. And incomplete as Rob Cote out of the backfield, who has 1 catch in each of his last 5 games, was sent deep.
Take a look at that 22-4 record for Bo Levi Mitchell and where that fits in the history of the game. Jackie Parker had the similar record. Now, he lost his 27th and 28th game. So Bo Levi Mitchell wins this afternoon. The best start by any quarterback.
And the names on the board, that was a history lesson, wasn't it?
Wow.
2nd and 10, Mitchell throwing, open man, and overthrows the intended target, Eric Rogers. And Calgary's offense will have to leave the field.
Yeah, and you get the sense, though, that this is going to be, when you talk about the potential for the record improving for Mitchell, this is going to be one of those heavyweight matches because this is a great Edmonton defense. Love to take the ball away.
Rob Baver to punt, number 2 in the league in that department. Kendall Lawrence has been dangerous of late. Good boot, 53 yards, and here's Lawrence on the short side of the field stepping out at the 23. Well, he was impressive in his first Canadian Football League start last week. James Franklin over 300 yards, also scored 1 on the run. He leads the Eskimos on offense when we come back. Well, in case you weren't familiar with the rivalry, this is the coin toss. Dion Lacey already had refused to shake hands with Bo Levi Mitchell and Rob Cote.
And then the stare down begins.
I'm right here. I ain't over. I'm right here. This is the coin we'll be using for the points.
It was intense.
Here's James Franklin, and he won't get his first pass away. That's intense as Charleston Hughes comes up with a sack. And they roll as Hughes has his 7th sack of the season, 69th of his career.
Well, talk about a guy who understands this rivalry. It's Charleston Hughes. You go back to his big year 2 years ago. Last year he was injured and had an injury-plagued season. But go back 2 years ago, he had 5 sacks in the back-to-back Labor Day matchup with the Edmonton Eskimos in 2013. He understands it.
There's one game with back spasms, back in a big way. Franklin throwing, and that skipped short of the intended target. Darrell Walker, a quick 2-and-out. Joe Burnett on the scene defensively for Calgary.
Taking the place of Buddy Jackson on the corner over the last couple of games.
That first possession didn't last as long as the Dion Lacey stare down.
No, it didn't. Quick 2-and-out for Edmonton in tough field position as well.
So Brown is back, and again, Sean White just signed by the Eskimos to replace the injured in practice this week, Grant Shaw. And White with a decent first punt. Brown at his 50, a flag comes down, and Brown gets clotheslined before he reaches midfield. Flag down, we'll sort it out when we come back, but Bo Levi Mitchell should have good field position for his 2nd possession of this Labor Day Classic. Back in Calgary, Fred Bennett called on the hold, and so the Stampeders will scrimmage first down at their own 40-yard line. Early movement on that offensive line, and the play doesn't get off.
Procedure. Calgary number 65. 5-yard penalty. It remains first down.
That's Faderkyle returning to the lineup, and boy, he made some progress this week. They were getting him back into practice, thinking he'd be ready for the rematch, and all of a sudden, here he is back in the lineup off a broken leg. Spencer Wilson filled in for him, but Calgary loves to have Fader Kyle back at that right tackle. So 1st and 15. Fake to Walter, and Mitchell the toss, and a little bit too much on it off the fingertips of Anthony Parker. Dion Lacey, the guy in pregame who did not shake the hands of Bo Levi Mitchell. And leads the Canadian Football League in special teams tackles, coming down and covering the first kick and playing with that intensity he showed at the coin toss. 2nd and 15. Mitchell has time, has a man, and Marquis McDaniel has a first down into Edmonton territory at the Eskimo 50. Yeah, nice seam route where, again, the veteran Marquis McDaniel runs this route, and he plays it smart because he's got to get in behind the linebacking core and just in front of Marcel Young, and turns inside. Doesn't have a big window in there, but 25-yard gains. Bo Levi Mitchell puts it right on him. Mitchell has told us in the past it's like having another quarterback on the field with McDaniel, who has such a good understanding of their offense. Now on the ground, and here's Harrison. And Harrison gets cut down by the safety, Ryan Hines. The run game can be important for Calgary in this one. I mean, it always is for every offense to have the balance, but Dave Dickinson, with this defense he's facing and Chris Jones' group up front with all the different looks, they know they're going to rush 4 or 5 like most teams do, but they do it from so many different angles. If you can get to the second level with your run game, you can make the big play. Harrison got 9. Matt Walter back in, 2nd and 1, and he'll get stacked up. Looked like he was short of first down yardage. J.C. Sherritt at the bottom of the pile. And this is, again, another example of the different looks that you'll see from Chris Jones' defense, even in the short yardage. Look at Ryan Hines, the safety. They vacate that A-gap. That's between center and guard because they know the safety's coming down to fill it. Ryan Hines gets in there quickly and then makes the play in the backfield on the run. So it's 3rd and less than a yard. Brian Moniz is the short yardage man off the left side. He's got it. Sherritt and Blair Jones, or Corey Jones, on the tackle, but Moniz converts on 3rd down. And Bo Levi Mitchell returns. But when Chris Jones has all those players on the line of scrimmage, if a running back can make one guy miss in the hole, now there's no second level. And it's a big play in the run game. It's been tough slugging against this Edmonton defense, so they rank 1st against the run. Torrey Harrison back in the game of running back. 1st down. Mitchell looking deep, looking for Jeff Fuller, and is it intercepted? It is. Patrick Watkins brings it down and has his 4th pick of the season. That ties Watkins for the league lead, along with his teammate John Ojo. And the first takeaway of the 2015 Labor Day Classic is an interception by the veteran, Patrick Watkins. Jeff Fuller's just going to run a seam route here that crosses the backside of the formation, but Patrick Watkins doesn't have a man to cover into the short side of the field because his guy blocks. So he just falls off of this seam route, and he gets underneath it right here and intercepts that pass, not counted by Bo Levi Mitchell on the backside. 8th interception thrown by Mitchell this season, a swing pass out to Kendall Lawrence, and a flag down.
Major foul, face mask, Calgary number 24. From the end of the play, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
That's the former Eskimo on the corner, Joe Burnett.
take a look at the starters to watch for the Edmonton Eskimos. We talked about James Franklin's start, his first against Toronto, over 300 yards passing, no interception. They're going to move Eddie Steele from defensive tackle to right guard in this game. Injuries forcing that change.
He's going to have to deal with the likes of Micah Johnson. And here is Darrell Walker on the hitch, and Walker gets away and should be close to a first down. His first catch of the year. In his first 3 games, he's already 11th in CFL receiving.
And we're going to take a good long look this afternoon at the hottest receiver in the Canadian Football League. Runs a little hitch there, but off to the best start of any receiver in the over 100-year history of this league. Darrell Walker exploded on the scene 3 games ago.
Stiegel-like numbers.
Oh, unbelievable.
11 and a first down into Calgary territory.
Oh.
Franklin lost the handle, and they're going to roll it incomplete. Andre Prue trying to stop play. Frantic scramble for the football. James Franklin just lost the handle.
And John Hufnagel wants to take a look if it came out before the forward throwing motion. All by himself.
Almost intercepted by Micah Johnson.
James Franklin recovers like this is going to be a fumble, but do you see a little forward motion from the arm?
Arm coming forward, ball coming forward, but challenge is on. But from the get-go, Andre Prue was waving this off, and would it even be considered an immediate recovery? And Andre Prue might try and discourage John Hufnagel from going through with this. Wondered about the nerves of James Franklin, but
Calgary is challenging the ruling on the field of an incomplete pass. The play will be reviewed.
Take a look and see if the arm was moving forward, or did the ball pop out just before the forward motion when he was getting it back there to throw. Josh Bell for Calgary recovers this if it was considered a fumble. And did it come out before the forward progress? Wow, is that close. We've had a couple going back to yesterday. So the command center makes the big bucks because they got a tough decision to make here. And let's
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed by the replay center. It is an incomplete pass. Second down.
And it is immediately recovered right there by Josh Bell. So they're ruling that it was the arm moving forward slightly and an incomplete pass.
Again, we mentioned whether or not Franklin would be nervous. Chris Jones said, hey, he's played in the Cotton Bowl. He'll be fine. Showed a little nerves there, and now pulled down by Junior Turner as he scrambles down inside the 50, and a pickup of 4. Had 51 yards on 4 rushes last week in the win over the Argonauts.
Well, that was, one of the most impressive elements of James Franklin's game last week was that the stage wasn't too big for him. The game wasn't moving too fast for him. Didn't make the big mistake. No interceptions. Now he's playing against a very good, a different style defense than the Edmonton Eskimos and the Calgary Stampeders.
Good to see the veteran Sean White back in the league after being released early this season by Montreal. Tim Brown in the corner, well covered as they usually are by the Eskimos. So Bo Levi Mitchell back on the field after throwing the interception. Sarah Oleski with more on Bo when we come back. It was a slow start for the Grey Cup MVP, but he's gotten hotter as the season has gone on. With more on Bo Levi Mitchell, here's Sarah Oleski.
Well, Chris, it was a slow start for Bo Levi Mitchell. He had in his first 3 games 4 interceptions, just 3 touchdowns. He He told me that he was going against his natural instincts early on in the season, that he was staying in the pocket for too long. When he would see a lane open or see an opening, he wouldn't go for it. Everyone else was noticing too. In fact, Ron Mayo and Juwan Simpson even approached him and made a comment to him about that. But he said that he changed afterwards, partly out of necessity because of the injuries to the Stampeders offensive line. But he is back playing the type of natural football that he is used to playing. And the results have been there through the next 6 games, 11 touchdowns to just 3 interceptions.
Although today he's 2 for 6 out of the gate, and the interception in the end zone. That was Tim Brown with a carry inside.
Yeah, but when you look at his last 5 games and over 300 yards passing in 4 of them, and the touchdown to interception ratio completely changed from the start, as Sarah mentioned, you can safely say that the Grey Cup MVP is back. Now he's playing against a good defense, and as I mentioned, it's going to be a slugfest here this afternoon.
Second Labor Day Classic start. 2nd and 8 with Matt Walter back in the game. Has some time and throws incomplete, but a flag down in the secondary. Looked like contact on Markway McDaniel.
And Marcel Young is looking guilty as he turns around and talks to the officials. You can tell when a DB thinks it may be on him. He turns, what?
On the previous play, we had illegal contact. Edmonton, number 23, that turned out in pass interference. Edmonton, number 23. Point of foul, first down.
There's the line of scrimmage. There's approximately where the 5-yard zone is, and watch number 23 with the contact past that 5-yard zone right there, and the knockdown.
So first down and a little toss back inside. Walter dropped at the 35. And he has 6.
We talked briefly about Darrell Walker for the Edmonton Eskimos, and on the marquee right alongside him is Eric Rogers, #1 target for Bo Levi Mitchell, top receiver in the Canadian Football League statistically, on pace for over 1,600 yards. And the touchdown maker.
Touchdown streak of 6 consecutive games snapped in his last start. Here's Bo Levi Mitchell looking deep, and Rogers can't bring it down. Working this time against Aaron Grimes.
And his good patience, ball a little high from Mitchell as he's throwing on the run here. But good patience from Aaron Grimes. I think he got a little safety help from Ryan Hines as well. Mitchell trying to throw on the run, and it would have been a tough catch for the #1 receiver in the league. Ryan Hines coming over from safety spot to help out.
So 19 just off the mark early in this game. Maver the boot, and a good one. Kendall Lawrence fields that back at the 20. That's a 55-yard punt, and the Stamps down in a hurry on the cover team with a flag down. Looks like Pat Watkins is going to get called for an illegal block. By the way, these are the 2 least penalized teams in the league, though we've had a little laundry
Green
early.
return, illegal block. Edmonton, number 9, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Well, it's not a coincidence, least penalized and fighting for first in the division. Starters to watch for the Calgary Stampeders on defense. Let's start with Charleston Hughes, who knows this game, knows the rivalry, has a sack already this afternoon. That was his 7th on the season. Keon Raymond, the big play linebacker. When they need it, he comes up with an interception last week against Winnipeg, and the leading tackler on that defense is Deron Mayo.
James Franklin deep in his own zone, going to air it out, looking deep. Jump ball, and incomplete. Intended for a Darius Bowman. There's the 8-year vet, Keon Raymond, on the scene to break it up.
Against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, had another pick just shy of the end zone, and a Stampeder record for pick 6s. She's currently tied, and he gets back in a big way, closes on the football. Little underthrown from James Franklin. because you see Darius Bowman had a step in behind coverage.
So 2nd and 10 at the 13-yard line. Franklin out of the pocket. Scrambles, throws, and pass incomplete. Devon Bailey unable to bring that in with Joe Burnett there defensively. It's the second Eskimo 2 and out here in the opening quarter.
Yeah, James Franklin looks a little bit nervous, and this is his first start on the road, so it's not a huge surprise. And his first start on the road happens to be the Labor Day Classic, hostile territory, pretty much sellout crowd at McMahon Stadium. So you can understand why he's probably got some butterflies. Just need to settle down a little bit. And we'll talk to Jarius Jackson on the sideline.
Sean White from his goal line. Tim Brown awaits at midfield. And this one not as deep. Brown going to field it at the Edmonton 42-yard line. Wrapped up, tossed down, but just a 28-yard punt that time by White.
Late flag.
Matthew Boulay, the tackle.
During the return, major foul, clipping, Calgary number 94, 15-yard penalty, first down Calgary.
Frank Beltre gets the call. Fewest rough play fouls in the league have been assessed against Calgary, but they've had a couple already.
Just to the right of your screen, you see the hit from behind, and it's on Dion Lacey.
That changes the field position, takes the ball back to the Stampeder 50. Hand off inside, Walter, not much. Marcus Howard, the tackle.
Labor Day weekend, it's the Battle of Alberta. It's Calgary against Edmonton. And the first thing that comes to mind is the physicality in this matchup. These two teams do not like each other, especially on this day. And it can get nasty.
Ricky Ray into the Gatorade. That one of the most memorable scenes. Ed Hervey gonna throw a helmet soon, and even the officials take it on the chin. There's a pass on the mark over the middle, and there's the leading receiver in the Canadian Football League. Eric Rogers has his first catch of the game.
And if Chris Jones wants to try and match up Patrick Watkins on him, he's going to have to move Watkins around a ton, because they'll play Eric Rogers on a lot of different spots. That time he was the 2 receiver into the boundary.
13 and a first down, and now a handoff to Torrey Harrison, and good yardage up the middle. Ryan Hines again called upon to make a tackle. 8 for Harrison on first down. He had 15 carries, 60 yards against Winnipeg last week.
And didn't get that big run, just a 4-yard average. John Corn's been out of the lineup since the Ottawa game.
So at least 1 first down on each possession for Calgary into the final minute. Then the screen is caught by Rogers, and another first down. Armando Sewell has to take down Eric Rogers.
Dave Dickinson comes up with a new wrinkle. I haven't seen this play from the Calgary Stampeders. Well, they'll hide Eric Rogers in the line of scrimmage and then get him out there. The timing is to just drop it off. They know they have a free rusher, and Bo Levi Mitchell has to drop it to him before the rusher gets there.
Great matchup when you've got Dave Dickinson working against Chris Jones in the X's and O's. Rogers has another catch, and Watkins there to bring him down. Final play of the opening quarter, and still no blood drawn, at least on the scoreboard, here in the Labor Day Classic from McMahon Stadium in Calgary. scoreless first quarter. Calgary in scoring position and an edge in the stats in the opening quarter.
You know, when you have intense rivalry games, the defense usually wins early because of that intensity. I thought Bo Levi Mitchell didn't look nervous, but was a little bit off. And James Franklin did look nervous. Not a surprise. It's his first start on the road, just his second start in the CFL, and it happens to be the Labor Day Classic.
I wonder if the presence of Mike Riley on the sidelines for the first time makes you look over your shoulder a little bit too. Not that we're expecting to see Riley in this game.
No, he won't play this afternoon. But you know, I think it's just the atmosphere, the fact they're on the road. These quarterbacks will settle in, though. There's too many playmakers out there, and there's a dressed Mike Riley.
And a beardless Mike Riley, so there's an indication he's ready to go. So at the 17, 2nd and 5, and flags fly.
Procedure. Calgary, number 63, 5-yard penalty. It remains 2nd down.
So they call that on the center. Pierre Lavertu, number 1 pick in 2014, and he's been the one consistent on an ever-changing offensive line for Calgary in the first half of the season.
Get a chance to grip the ball for the center, but you can't move it around too much. Puts Bo in 2nd and 10.
Here comes the blitz. He goes the other way, has a completion, and a first down. Greg Wilson steps out in his 3rd game, replacing the injured Joe West.
Free agent signing just before the season. He's been on the practice roster and the reserve list. And Bo Levi Mitchell signaled. Watch to the left of your screen right here. He's signaling with the back of his helmet. Reached up with that right hand. Looked like he was trying to get some communication out to Jeff Fuller, and then went back to the backside based on coverage. Keep an eye on that.
11 a first down, and the fly sweep here. Marquay McDaniel punished Dexter McCoyle in on the tackle. Odell Willis is there, and don't usually see a running play involving McDaniel.
And Odell Willis has been so versatile at Chris Jones' defense, able to drop back into coverage a ton, almost 50% of the time. He can be all over the field. You may even see Odell Willis at safety, of course, his specialty, getting after quarterbacks.
5 sacks in the last 2 games for Willis. So just 1 for McDaniel, and it's 2nd and 9 from the 11. Short drop underneath, pass caught by Wilson, but Marcel Young wraps him up, not going any further.
As good as this Calgary team has been, and they're on a 4-game win streak, not exactly overpowering in the red zone, and just at 50%.
And going to mention that in the last 3 games, they'd been there 15 times and scored 8, so that's the 16th time in the last 3.5 games, and they're still batting 50%.
Get down there, they got to look for number 80. He's pretty good at the touchdown thing.
So Rennie Paredes in to try to put Calgary on the board first. 9-play drive capped by a short field goal here in southern Alberta on Labor Day. Mentioned that Mike Riley back in uniform for the first time since being injured in the season opener. With more here again, Sarah.
Well, Chris, you and Glenn said that we won't be seeing Mike Riley today, but Mike tells me that physically he would be able to play if needed. Chris Jones told me that Mike Riley is around 90-95%. They're waiting for him to be 100%. The biggest thing right now is getting back up to game speed and getting his timing back. Mike Riley is wearing a brace on his left knee. He says he will continue to wear that the rest of this season, and then he will go from there, but he is happy to be back. In fact, on day 2, he told me that although inadvertently he ended up getting hit during practice, ended up on flat on his back, and he said the knee felt good afterwards, so although you don't usually like to get hit in practice, that was a good sign.
Eskimos opted for the kickoff, and they don't get much on the return, just to the 20. So a deficit position for James Franklin and the offense after the field goal by the Stampeders.
Yeah, I think Chris Jones is going to be overly cautious a little bit when it comes to Mike Riley, especially if James Franklin can settle in a little bit here in this second quarter and start to put some first downs together. He doesn't want to rush Riley in. I'd be surprised to even see him next week, but possibly, as Sarah mentioned.
Fifth different Eskimo starter on Labor Day in 5 years, along with Ricky Ray, Kerry Joseph, Matt Nichols, and Mike Riley. Not much there. Interesting suits. We're seeing Eddie Steele, the converted defensive tackle, actually lining up a tight end for Edmonton.
Moving him around a little bit. And you see that in college quite often with a real good athlete that could play on both sides of the ball. Certainly in the offensive and defensive lines, you see it at the college level. Not very often at the pro level.
Back at right guard here. On second and long. Franklin throws. Ball is caught. Nice snare there by Devin Bailey. But he's going to be short of the first down. And once again, the punt team has to come on.
Eddie Steele, to me, looks like a guard. I mean, he's built like a guard, 6'2", 280 pounds. He's got a sack to his credit, so he takes his talents and his outstanding quick feet and he puts it on the offensive side of the ball. Chris Jones did not hesitate to get him over there, felt like he could handle it.
Andrew Jones hurt last week, and they've been beat up at the guard position. Simeon Rotier has yet to play this year. Greg Roy also hurt. They've acquired Brian Simmons from Hamilton, but he arrived late this week. Tim Brown on the return, and this time almost got away. 41-yard punt, and Jordan Lynch, the number 3 quarterback, downfield helping cover. Let's see if Eric Rogers gets loose on the next series for Calgary.
Levi Mitchell can drive the offense back down to the red zone. This was their last visit to the red zone. And on second down, Eric Rogers, the touchdown maker, was open in the end zone. Bo Levi Mitchell didn't see him and dumped it down to Greg Wilson.
Stamp settled for 3. They have 7 first downs in the game. Matt Nichols stopped up quickly, shooting the gap. The middle linebacker, J.C. Sherritt, with the tackle.
You mentioned Eric Rogers' streak. Touchdowns, 6 consecutive games, and he has a history of that going back to college. 45 touchdowns at California Lutheran, a school record. 18 as a senior. I mean, you get down in that red zone for number 80.
That's Mr. Rogers' neighborhood. Second down, and that ball got tipped at the liner. Mitchell's arm hit, falls incomplete. And a 2 and out for Calgary in this defensive first half at McMahon. First 2 and out for the Stampeders. So here's Maver with Kendall Lawrence awaiting at the Edmonton 20. Back pedals to the 16. 46-yard punt, but Lawrence on a return up over the 30-yard line. Just past the 5-minute mark of the second quarter. James Franklin trying to get some offensive traction for the Eskimos.
Hi, I'm James Franklin of the Edmonton Eskimos.
Looking one way, now another. Out of the pocket and on the run. Ricky Foley in pursuit. Franklin's got a first down. He's got a touchdown.
And you're watching the Labor Day Classic on TSN.
Well, he was cool in his debut last week. Completed his first 7, a touchdown drive on their opening possession. It's been tougher sledding here, trying to get the offense moving in the second quarter with a pass to his old college teammate, Kendall Lawrence.
Not a bad way to get that
that rhythm started, just to throw out that quick screen pass. And Kendall Lawrence has been very productive. I mean, quietly leads the league in all-purpose yards, so why not get 32 involved?
Lawrence, Walker, and Franklin, all players of the week last week in a convincing win over the Argonauts. And there is Walker.
Good catch.
Nice grab there for a first down at the 45-yard line on the slant pattern for 7.
That's all strong hands. I mean, that was on a rope right in front of him, and he had to just stab it as it came across. Not a big window again, but look at the hands. Strong hands across the middle. Earned the trust of the quarterbacks in Edmonton in a hurry.
110 catch game in college at Texas A&M with Johnny Manziel. He's had a 10 and a 14 catch game already. Here's Kenny Stafford with his first grab up at the 52-yard line. Stafford, who played briefly with Calgary last year.
You mentioned Johnny Manziel in connection with Darrell Walker. College days. The Edmonton Eskimos found him in a free agent camp south of the border, and it was the same camp they found James Franklin. They worked together on the practice roster, got reps together, have some chemistry.
2nd and 3, and the pass complete. Bowman has another first down. There's Joe Burnett on the scene for Calgary defensively.
But the arrival of Darrell Walker means that some attention will be taken off of Darius Bowman. And then if you sprinkle in a little Kenny Stafford and Kendall Lawrence, and all of a sudden this Edmonton team has a lot of weapons for the quarterbacks to choose from. I mean, Bowman was getting the double team almost all game.
1st and 10. In the Stampeders territory, they swing it to the far side. Lawrence is able to turn it upfield. Good first down production, and suddenly there is some traction to this Eskimo offense with 7 more for Kendall Lawrence.
I like the way Kendall Lawrence took that ball as it was coming through the air, and he knew exactly where he wanted to go with it without catching it, stopping, and taking a look and allowing the Calgary defense to rally to it. I mean, he takes his football on the fly, and he knows immediately that he wants to get the corner. That's Phil Stafford.
Got a block from Kenny Stafford, best drive of the game for the Eskimos. And a pass inside for Walker, busted up by Jamar Wall.
That's great timing. Jamar Wall comes downhill on this slant and just times it up nicely, put his shoulder right into the shoulder pads of Walker. Good physical play, but it's all about the timing here. Get there too early, you draw the flag. Get there too late, and Walker has another reception.
3rd down, and a decision to be made on that sideline, and Chris Jones thought about it. Would be a 51-yard field goal. But instead, you check that 53-yard field goal. Instead, Sean White will punt and look for the corner. Sails this, and it will reach the end zone. And the first point of the game for the Eskimos on the 57-yard single by Sean White. CFL action continues with Wendy's Friday Night Football and the rematch. Tiger Cats and Argonauts kick off at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on TSN 1 and 4. Zach Calaros putting on a show today, didn't he?
Well, the Argos want a do-over. That's what they want. They're going to get it next week. The right strategy, I think, by Chris Jones to try and punt it, but he needs his kicker to put that one in the corner inside the 15, 10-yard line and get it out of bounds for the strategy to work. Didn't happen.
So the Stamps take over at the 35. Mitchell out of the pocket on the run, and he'll get spun down by J.C. Sherritt right at the line of scrimmage.
You know, he got out of the pocket and ran to his right, but the only receiver he had on that side of the field was Jeff Fuller down the sideline, and he was well covered. So this is a coverage sack or tackle on Bo Levi Mitchell. He just didn't have an open target. He had back out there trying to block, and he had Jeff Fuller down the field, but he was covered down.
We'll give Sherritt a tackle, but not a sack, as Mitchell gets just back to the line of scrimmage, 2nd and 10. For Heat. And this time they do get a sack. And Odell Willis and J.C. Sherritt arrive.
Yeah, together. And he came from a long way. J.C. Sherritt thought, okay, if Chris Cuthbert is not giving me the sack on the last play, I got to get there before my teammate Odell Willis on this play. And he comes from a long way back, too. Looking to see him come all the way around the horn. And he gets there with 41.
2nd 2 and out for Calgary. That ball bouncing on the turf. It'll get scooped up by Lawrence after a 38-yard punt. Decent field position for the Eskimos at the Edmonton 45. So let's see if James Franklin can carry over the momentum. 6 plays on the last possession. All 6 were passing plays. And there are the numbers for the young quarterback out of Missouri. Best field position start. The fake to Chad Simpson did not fool Charleston Hughes. And Hughes has his 2nd sack here in the opening half.
Couple big plays for Charleston Hughes in this first half. Just to the left of your screen, you don't see him out of the gate here, but you'll see him in a hurry, and so does James Franklin. Tries to do the ride to the side, but doesn't hold the fake very long. He just sort of jabs it in the stomach of Chad Simpson and then runs outside. We should mention that Shakir Bell, the starting tailback, not in the lineup for this game this afternoon for Edmonton. We haven't seen much of a run game, if any, from the Eskimos.
2nd and 11. Franklin underneath, and the ball dropped. Darius Bowman would have been in first down territory, but couldn't make the play in front of Joe Burnett.
You know, tough catch, but he's made this many times. I mean, this is a 9 out of 10, and you got to have it. I mean, it's low and to the outside. I think the pressure was starting, the pocket was starting to close on James Franklin. That bounces right off his floor. He's got to have that catch.
The 4 2 and outs for Edmonton. Every possession has ended with a punt so far for the Eskimos. Ball just outside the numbers, and Brown sent tumbling on a huge hit. That's Jordan Lynch again.
Yeah.
And Tim Brown been shaken up. Lynch, the number 3 quarterback with the Eskimos, but he has been doing this all season long on punt cover, and Tim Brown is in some difficulty.
Yeah, it's a good play by Jordan Lynch, but you hate to see anybody get hurt. And it's a low bridge on low shot. Lynch goes down to make the tackle on this cutback and hits both knees. You can see Tim Brown grabs the right one immediately. Hope that he's okay.
Brown's been one of the most dangerous men in the league this year. He is 3rd in all-purpose yards. Actually finished 2nd in 2 other complete seasons in the all-purpose yards category. He's had a couple of kick returns called back this year that would have been touchdowns.
I guarantee you that Jordan Lynch enjoys the attention he gets in the special teams meetings when a backup quarterback is going to be pointed out time and time again.
On the field of downward contact. The play will be reviewed.
Time and time again, you get pointed out. You remember the special teams meetings, the entire team's in there. That's good news that Tim Brown's walking off on his own power there. But Jordan Lynch in those meetings, when coach points out that, look, our backup quarterback's making tackles, guys, that'll inspire the entire team.
It's a Heisman Trophy candidate making tackles. And again, the Eskimos have challenged whether or not that was a fumble.
Let's take a look.
And when's the ball coming out? Lands right on his head, and there's Sherritt to recover. But is he considered down?
Tough to tell if there was, if your hands are the only point of contact on the ground, then you're not down yet. It's got to be something other than your hand. If it's a helmet.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The ball carrier was down with contact prior to fumbling the football. First down, Calgary.
If it was his head, and it sounds like that was the ruling that touched first, then he's down by contact there.
First point of contact with the ground isn't usually at the top of the helmet.
No,
but was there.
Good to see Tim Brown walked off. He's okay.
First down, Stampeders set up the screen. Here is Torrey Harrison, and he'll be brought down by Otha Foster. 7 for Harrison.
Yeah, both teams starting to get their backs involved a little bit in those screens. We saw Kendall Lawrence for the Edmonton Eskimos. He gets involved, gets James Franklin a bit of a rhythm, and even though Bo Levi Mitchell has more starts and more experience going back to last year, good way to get him in a groove as well.
More concern, though, for the Stampeders. It seems to be every game somebody gets shaken up on that offensive line. It's left tackle Gary Williams, who replaced the injured Edwin Harrison. Williams suffered a hyperextended elbow a few weeks back, but
Spencer Wilson will be called back in. He was a backup, dressed and ready to go. Remember, because Dan Faderkyle is back in early, a week early, they took Wilson back on. Now Wilson will come in and is trying to loosen up in that huddle right now.
Changes the ratio as now it's an all-Canadian offensive line for John Huffnagel. Should be the final play before the 3-minute warning. 2nd and 3. Short drop, wide open. Over the middle, it's McDaniel for a first down. Ryan Hines has the tackle. McDaniel, the first down. Low scoring, but high intensity. Lots of trash talking. It's Labor Day as the Alberta rivals get reacquainted.
A defensive struggle in this Labor Day showdown between the Stamps and Eskimos coming up in Live at the Half. Me and the guys will have some thoughts on that game. Also, Paul Appelese on the role reversal for Eddie Steele and highlights of the Ticats' demolition of the Argos earlier today. Back to Chris and Glenn.
Yeah, it looks like Zach Galeros and the Ticats took care of the scoring on Labor Day Monday. Low scoring here, but Bo Levi Mitchell trying to change that with a shot to Fuller. He's got it down inside the 15-yard line.
Well, with the reaction from Patrick Watkins, I think he thought Marcel Young was going to be back there to help him. It's just a straight go route with a little bit of a slant to the post from Jeff Fuller. Ball put right on him, and you could see the reaction. Watkins looks over at Marcel Young as if, weren't you supposed to be deep?
46-yard strike and a first down. Second trip to the red zone for Calgary. Pass complete to Rogers and quickly brought down again by J.C. Sherritt.
Now we have that same situation the last time that Mitchell was in the red zone and didn't get a chance to see Rogers that was open in the corner. Let's see if they get it to him here.
So 32nd trip to the red zone for Calgary. 15 touchdowns.
Putting them to the wide field with Jeff Fuller. Should have lots of room over there.
2nd and 8. Looks the other way, looking for Wilson. And does he have it? Yes, touchdown. First touchdown of the Labor Day Classic. First touchdown in the Canadian Football League for Greg Wilson.
Throw behind. Greg Wilson's going to run the fade, and Bo puts it on his back shoulder.
He'll put the brakes on and hope Patrick Watkins flies right by. And he battles for that. And take another look. Make sure that he did secure this catch before and didn't use the ground to help him. And he did secure it. They review every score, so they're doing that now.
Spent some time with the Denver Broncos. Had a terrific training camp, but a deep roster to crack of receivers here. Wilson making the most of his opportunity with the injury to Joe West. And the extra point tucked in. And it's a 10-1 lead for the Stampeders. A 5-play.
Mom, Dad, Kelsey, Dwayne, Steph, love you guys.
76-yard drive capped by the Wilson touchdown.
Yeah, nice route running here from Greg Wilson. He's going to just bend in a little bit, freeze Watkins, and then head down into this fade. And when he makes that little bend, it just puts Watkins in a bit of a chase. So now he's got to catch up. And when he catches up, he gets too high. The throw behind to the back shoulder by Mitchell is perfect. He fights off Watkins as he tries to scramble back. But if you can make him freeze and hesitate, that corner's going to now try and get on his horse to get back up and get on your up top shoulder. And then that strategy to throw it to his back shoulder works perfectly.
Boy, that ball bounces right back off Watkins and into his hands. Caught it twice. And Watkins upset on the sidelines that it didn't fall incomplete.
Yeah, and I think he's more upset about the previous play, that deep seam route.
Touchdown against the all CFL corner. Jack Roberts on the field. He's still loose, but Kendall Lawrence brought down at the 25.
And the Jack Rabbit scores. It does a little dance in the end zone back there. I mean,
somebody signed him up.
I mean, Kendall Lawrence is fast, but that's faster. And he came back onto the field about the same time that Kendall Lawrence caught that return and was coming out of the end zone. I mean, here he goes. Look at him go. And he scores and then has a touchdown dance. Woohoo!
Must have been a fan of Gizmo. James Franklin on a roll. Sideline pass. And it's caught. Nice catch by Devin Bailey. 85 seconds left for the Eskimos to respond after the touchdown. They're now saying incomplete.
Looked like James Franklin maybe lost the handle again before he...
No, it is a catch. And it's 2nd and 2. Looks one way and in trouble. Had a man open. Chad Simpson upset because he was loose in the flat. And the Stampeders chalk up a sack.
Well, Rich Stubler's defense playing well in this first half against a young quarterback in his second start. A different style than Chris Jones. They'll even be more patient. They try to get pressure from just their front four. And if they can get the four-man pressure up front, then they can do a lot more back in the back end in coverage. And this time they do rally to it. Edmonton Eskimos O-line tried to cut block, and they got around those cut blocks.
5th sack of the year for Freddie Bishop. White just gets it away. And it's Burnett on the return, and the former Eskimo got a chance with Tim Brown on the sidelines, and he makes the most of that. And a momentum shift in the late stages in Calgary with an opportunity to seize control.
Joe Burnett, when he was with the Edmonton Eskimos and at the beginning of his career, did this a ton. I mean, he was their #1 punt returner for a couple of years.
First game against his old team, was injured in 2014 and was released by Edmonton in April. So the Stampeders start in Edmonton territory, and Markway McDaniel a catch near a first down, and well, the Stamps with a touchdown here could really take charge of this game heading to the locker room for halftime.
Markway McDaniel is just flat money. I mean, you get him the ball. You talked about his target to catch ratio.
up around 80%, tops in the league. Not number one, but he's in the top 5. And
only Brad Sinopoli among receivers with a better percentage. And there's a catch for Rogers over the middle. And another Calgary first down at the 25 with a half minute to go.
We'll watch a little shake here from Eric Rogers. And one of the reasons that he is getting open and becoming that big play receiver for Bo Levi Mitchell. Little fake to the outside. He stems just enough to hold Aaron Grimes.
Going no huddle. Mitchell, pass incomplete. Intended for McDaniel, and a former teammate, Marcel Young, when they were both in Hamilton, breaks it up.
Holding
on the play.
Calgary number 50, 10-yard penalty. Still first down.
That's Spencer Wilson, who is now in at left tackle. Boy, he has played all over that offensive line, 4 different positions last season.
Yeah, any team in the league that wants to make injuries an excuse, you just can't. The Calgary Stampeders are 7-2, lost most of their O-line, almost all of them at one time or another, and their starting tailback.
Pass is incomplete. Fuller had it and couldn't hang on.
Now, did Watkins just get his hand in there to disrupt that one? Because it looked to me like Fuller had this in stride and had better position on the slant route. He's been using this a lot. We've seen Jeff Fuller run this same route about 3 times in this first half. No, he just flat dropped it. Just flat dropped it.
Been an issue for Fuller, who got off to a torrid start that opening game with 9 catches, 148 yards, but he's fought it a little bit ever since. 2nd and 20. Here's McDaniel. Down to the 25-yard line. That's a 9-yard pickup, and the field goal team will come on for John Hufnagel.
So far in this first half, Chris Jones has not put Patrick Watkins on Eric Rogers. He's leaving him on his side of the field, and Ojo is playing his side. So he's got enough confidence in both those guys, both those corners, that no matter where Eric Rogers lines up, they're not going to have someone track him, at least not in this first half.
Rene Paredes from 32 yards out. Puts it through, and the Stampeders will take a 12-point lead to the locker room. 13-1 halftime in the Labor Day Classic from McMahon Stadium. Let's now go back to the panel with Rod Smith.
Thank you, Chris. And you know it's a defensive game when a rabbit has more yardage than either of the teams playing.
Right.
But the horse eventually did get running, and let's give Calgary's offense some credit there. Here's the panel, Milt, Matt, and Chris. And what do you think of those defenses so far?
They're playing some good football, and I think we expected that when you're talking about 2 of the best defensive minds in the CFL, and Chris Jones with Edmonton and Rich Stubler with the Calgary Stampeders. And James Franklin didn't know what he was getting into when he was facing a Rich Stubler defense. And Rich Stubler, he does great against veteran quarterbacks, but he knew he was going to do well against a young quarterback. And these Edmonton Eskimos, that defense is keeping them in the game right now because their offense has really been stymied. So we're going to see some great players. J.C. Sherrod, I think he's having a great game. We knew Charleston Hughes would be coming out and be charged up playing against his old defensive coordinator, Chris Jones. So these defenses are playing some great football. Edmonton, they're really keeping that offense in the game, and Calgary, once again, is playing some great football, maybe the best football in the CFL so far.
Oh, so what are we saying about Dave Dickinson and Steve McAdoo, the offensive coordinators? They're not any good?
They're okay. They're okay.
Yeah, they're finding it tough against these 2 top defenses, and so is the young quarterback, James Franklin from Edmonton. Charleston Hughes, you mentioned him. He's got a tackle for a loss and a sack in this ball game, giving him 15 stops to lead the league. And, hey, there's the one right there. Got to love it. 39 back in the mix, and then that's a little mockery on what Edmonton does. And then here, watch that. The ball is not even, he doesn't even have the laces. Look at that. No wonder the ball's slipping out here. Plus, he's probably a little amped up knowing that he's playing the Stampeders in Labor Day and things are happening a little fast for the quarterback. And here, this ball just, this is a ball that he typically throws extremely well, but he's throwing it in double coverage and the ball's underthrown. Then here on the run, ball gets away from him and he throws it low to Devin Bailey. This is not typical James Franklin. He's better than that right now. He's learning all about what the Labor Day Classic is, and that's when things get dialed up a little bit. Been there, done that. I was 3-2 in those classics, Schultze, and it's a tough time to play.
Well, the most interesting aspect of this game happened before the game even started. I want to go back to the coin toss, and Dion Lacey and also Bo Levi Mitchell. Dion Lacey's trying to intimidate the quarterback here. He is in his face, and we did hear the audio on this. Basically says, get your hands off me. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that, and you're going to do nothing about it. And early in the game, I wonder if it had a bit of effect, because early in the game, Bo Levi Mitchell had a couple of high balls as opposed to accurate passes. He settled down later in the game, and the absence of that intimidation was a relevant issue as the game progressed. But it's a big part of football. It happened early in the football game, and I'll tell you what, Calgary Stampeders, don't you ever let that happen to your quarterback again. Somebody has to physically separate Bo Levi Mitchell from Dion Lacey, because that was getting vicious in what was said and the threats that were made. It was an attempt to intimidate. I have never seen that on the coin toss.
So you would have stepped in and protected your quarterback.
I would have just stepped in and physically separated if I was right there. But I think it was so bizarre that everyone was like, is this really going on?
Is this really happening?
Lacey may have been intimidating them also.
I was impressed with Bo Levi's restraint and how he handled that, right? He says, okay, yeah, all right. And Schultz, you might have to restrain me if we were out there. I was pretty impressed with Bo Levi and how he handled it.
Once again, though, is this a sign, though, that maybe the Stampeders have gotten into the Eskimos' heads with all these wins year after year?
That is a great point.
That he felt the need to do something.
The flip with the two guys after the sack, this scenario right here, yes. It's kind of, Edmonton tries to be the intimidator in a lot of levels of football. Calgary's not the type of team that's going to settle back.
You got to win the game on the field. It doesn't matter what happened before the field.
With your shoulder pads. That's how you do your tough.
Well, I'll tell you, early on, I mean, the Eskimos made a good statement defensively. It was a very low-scoring game. Calgary started opening up now with the lead, a 12-point lead at the half.
Mitchell looking deep, looking for Jeff Fuller, and is it intercepted? It is. Patrick Watkins looks the other way, looking for Wilson, and does he have it? Yes, touchdown.
And the Ballard Trophy in the process. Calgary Stampeders 13-1 over Edmonton at the half. Here's Matty with the stats.
Yeah, one of the best in the league right here. 223 total yards, showing one of the most promising in the league with only 59 total yards. All about learning how to play a little faster on the Labor Day Classic weekend.
The one touchdown of the game scored by Calgary's Greg Wilson, standing by now with Sarah Orleski.
Greg, the first touchdown of the Labor Day Classic comes from yourself, your first CFL touchdown as well. What do you know about the rivalry between these two clubs and this game?
I know there's a long history behind it. We're playing back-to-back, this year, and then like with last year, we played them again in the Western Final. So I know there's a lot of history, and just want to come out and keep fighting the second half and get a good W.
For yourself, you spent time on the practice roster. You've been in for a couple of weeks, though. What is the biggest adjustment when you're coming in?
Just the speed and keeping your conditioning up. Because when you're on the practice squad and you're not getting game reps, you got to keep your conditioning up, get your breathing going. So that's been the biggest adjustment so far.
Thanks for this.
Thank you.
Providing the offense on a day of defense for the Edmonton Eskimos and the Calgary Stampeders as the Jets fly over in a big game Labor Day Monday. And it's Calgary dominating the recent past and leading right now. Second half kickoff coming up.
John Hufnagel, Bo Levi Mitchell conferring 13-1. There's Stampeders with the lead as we head to the second half. But first, Sarah Orleski is with J.C. Sherritt.
JC, Calgary leads 13-1 after the first half. Where is it that they can cause the defense problems?
They're widening us out. They're hitting the seams on us like we knew they would, and that's something we got to control, and we got to switch the field position on special teams. That's what it is.
You've been a part of a lot of these Labor Day Classics. Describe the animosity that exists between these two clubs on the field.
It's as much as any team we play. Obviously, you can tell nobody likes each other out here, but, luckily for us, we got to have to go get this game back.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Have to get the game back and end an 11-game losing streak against their arch rivals from Southern Alberta.
Interesting that J.C. Sherritt mentioned in that interview that Bo Levi Mitchell is widening the Chris Jones defense a little bit. They're spreading him out and then bringing guys like Jeff Fuller back into the seam.
and making some plays down the field that way. We'll see what Chris Jones does to adjust to that in this second half.
Eskimos will get the ball first here in the second half.
Stephen McAdoo, the offensive coordinator for the Edmonton Eskimos, started with Toronto an O-line coach, then moved to running backs with Montreal, now the OC in Edmonton. And just see how he's going to settle James Franklin down.
Just 59 net yards for that offense in the first half against an underrated defense. There's Kendall Lawrence trying to bump it outside, and Josh Bell will bring him down up around the 28-yard line.
You take a look at the first half possessions, lots of punts, lots of 2-and-outs for the Eskimos. Now, they haven't been able to establish any type of run, partly probably because of the makeshift O-line a little bit and moving Eddie Steele from defense to guard. As the guys talked about at halftime, a quarterback in his second start, no Shakir Bell in the lineup this afternoon. Chad Simpson gets the start.
That Stampeder defense surrendered 136 yards of offense in the entire game last week, so they are on a roll. And maybe there is a sign that they're going to try something different with Chad Simpson straight ahead.
Yeah, Rich Stubler right now they're playing to his hands. I mean, there's not much in this league that Rich Stubler has not seen. And he's got a great secondary, great back end. He's got the leadership with Juwan Simpson in the middle. So the way to get James Franklin going, I think, is to get that balance back in the offense. Chad Simpson's capable.
2nd and 6. Franklin pulls it down, trying to get outside, in trouble. Whoa. And tried to throw it away, and they're going to call that intentional grounding with Charleston Hughes in pursuit of the young quarterback.
Yeah, it'll be intentional grounding. Didn't go past the line of scrimmage, and even though it's sort of underhand pitch, it still counts as a forward pass.
Intentional grounding. Edmonton number 14. This is a loss of down from where the ball was thrown. 3rd down.
Charleston Hughes loves that stand-up 2-point stance where he can take a good look at the offensive set and then just shadow the quarterback. And that time he didn't even go upfield. He just tracked Franklin down.
Freddie Bishop clipping him on the ankles. Lost his footing, and Hughes in the area for the 6th 2-and-out. Sean White with the punt. And it's Burnett at the 51. He'll get to midfield before he is tossed down by the special teams leader of the Eskimos, Dion Lacey.
Who's still talking? Guys talked about that at halftime, and that nose-to-nose stare down with Bo Levi Mitchell and some of the things said. And after that last tackle on special teams, Dion Lacey hasn't stopped talking this game this afternoon.
So great field position start for the Stamps. Ball just nosing on the Eskimo side of midfield. At Walter, right side, and a good first down run as he crashes for 7 down to the 47.
And Calgary went with Torrey Harrison last week and didn't get the ball to Matt Walter at all, as you mentioned, Chris, off the top of the show. And he's the #1 guy. He's the guy that stepped in for Cornish over the last couple of years when he's been hurt.
Rested a bit last week because of an ankle issue in the previous start, which was a 20-carry, 110-yard game.
His best, yeah.
Against Saskatchewan. Best in his career.
Yep.
2nd and 3. And it's Walter again, and with a flag down, he gets stopped short of the first down. Foster and Hines on the tackle. Matt Walter's first CFL touchdown was in a Labor Day Classic.
Boy, that Chris Jones, though, he'll load the line. If he thinks that Calgary's going to start running, he'll start run blitzing.
Edmonton, number 90, 5-yard penalty, 1st down.
Big Armando Sewell, though, called offside to extend the Calgary possession.
He'll put 7 up, and sometimes he'll bring 8, and he'll just load them up in the line. All the gaps are canceled. Here comes the 8, and that was the safety, Ryan Hines.
Sewell must have lined up inside that 1-yard restraining area because he didn't move early. Another handoff, and this time Patrick Watkins was waiting for Walter. No gain.
They can do that because, and Patrick Watkins comes on that short side corner blitz sometimes. They can do it because of the athletic ability of Dexter McCoyle. Because when they're in the short side, they'll bring the corner, which you don't see very often because McCoyle can cover behind him and play like the defensive back and play sort of a zone behind a corner blitz. Tough to play against offensively.
2nd and 10. Mitchell moves around, throws, and off the outstretched fingertip of Markway McDaniel, incomplete.
And McCoyle. And you could see him again as leaving that linebacking core. Markway McDaniel, the 3rd receiver inside. Now he's going to end up running this sort of dig route after that move, but we'll look at McCoyle, number 45. That ball thrown on a line, he's taking it the other way.
Stamps won't try a 49-yard field goal into the wind. Instead, it's Maver, who's so good at kicking inside the 10. Line drive, fielded at the 4. And a 38-yard punt covered well as Kendall Lawrence is dropped at the 9-yard line by Glenn Love. We're in Calgary on Labor Day, and the hometown has a 12-point lead. Tackling hunger, a promise we can all help deliver.
How about those Red Blacks? And not only are they leading this list, but they also signed Sean Lemon, former Calgary Stampeder.
They're loading up.
More pressure on quarterbacks.
Only 1 to Charleston Hughes. We thought 2, but officially just 1 sack for him, 2 for the Stamps in the game. And yeah, Franklin throwing incomplete, all kinds of pressure, and the deepest field position start on maybe a bad decision by Kendall Lawrence.
Yeah, you take a look. You're inside the 10-yard line. Kendall Lawrence is back there, and he's going to catch this around his own 3. It looks to me like that ball's going in the end zone. Give up a point there and get the field position for your young quarterback. Now, he may have got the instruction from the bench, but I would say that's just the wrong decision by Kendall Lawrence. Give up a single there.
Fans get loud. 2nd and 10. Franklin delivers. And he has a strike, Darius Bowman, right at the first down stick. As they mark the ball at the 19, that should be enough to move the chains.
If it was Kendall Lawrence, and odds are it was, then he was happy, more happy than anybody about that catch from Darius Bowman, because it gets him out of that shadow of their goalpost down there where James Franklin's throwing from his own goal line.
2nd catch for Bowman, 398 in his career. Also closing in on 6,000 yards of receiving, and here's Chad Simpson ahead. A run for 7 across the 25 for Chad Simpson. That's the best run of the game for Edmonton.
I love the footwork from James Franklin here on this. He's going to fake the screen, the wide receiver screen to the right, and then spin right around, fake the screen, spin around, hand it off to Chad Simpson real quick. That's fancy footwork for the quarterback to get around there and get the ball to his tailback. Whoop, and away it goes.
Second and 3. Fakes to Simpson. Wide side, that's complete. The catch for Darrell Walker, and Burnett bumps him out of bounds, but another first down, and the Eskimos get a little breathing room with a couple of first downs here, starting at their 9.
I think that was more than a bump on the sideline on Darrell Walker, and I think it surprised him a little bit. Turned up the field, and whoa.
Third catch for Walker today. He's got some work to do to keep up to his 157 yards per game average. Low throw and incomplete as Franklin unable to hit Kendall Lawrence in the flat.
He rushed it. He just rushed this throw, and his fundamentals dropped when you're trying to speed it up a little bit, and he points to himself immediately, saying, "Yeah." Kendall Lawrence needs that ball up there so he can turn around in front of him, see the defense come, and be able to make his move in the open field and follow the blocks of his receivers.
Second start for Franklin, 7th appearance of the year, and he came into the game averaging 27.6 yards per drive. Only Kevin Glenn
with more yards per drive so far this year. Looking downfield, Kenny Stafford can't make the catch. He was loose behind coverage and couldn't scoop up that low offering from Franklin.
Yeah, and Keon Raymond recovered and maybe distracted him, but I think that went right through the hands of Kenny Stafford. A good throw from Franklin, and it does. I don't think Raymond got a finger on it. May have distracted him, but went right through the hands, and he was in bounds. We've seen one drop by Bowman for a first down, and that's one drop from Kenny Stafford. And need those catches when your quarterback is trying to struggle just to get some first downs and give your defense a rest.
Keon Raymond breathing a sigh of relief. That might have flipped the field. Calvin McCarty, the senior Edmonton Eskimo, the fullback in his 9th year, has taken a knee.
J.C. Sherritt said it with Sarah's interview at halftime that for Edmonton to get some momentum here, they're going to have to flop the field, maybe make that play on the special teams to do it.
Interesting you mentioned that. We eavesdropped on Chris Jones prior to the game, and he did make that point in his pregame address that they need a play on the teams today. They haven't had one yet.
Tim Brown out of the lineup after that hit in the first half from Jordan Lynch. So it has been all Joe Burnett back there.
White's boot as Burnett backpedaling, a little bobble, and he'll bring it back to the 35 where he gets hit. There's been some injuries as well on that Calgary sideline. We'll have an update on that when we return. Couple of injuries for John Hufnagel in this Labor Day Classic. With an update, let's join Sarah.
Well, Chris, you had mentioned how Tim Brown was injured late in that second quarter. He is done for the game with a right leg injury. Also, Gary Williams off the offensive line was injured late in that quarter as well. He is also done with an arm injury. So Quinn Smith, defensive tackle, has switched from number 90 to number 68. We will see him during this game.
Long toss by Mitchell falls incomplete. Saw Quinn Smith move across a la Eddie Steele earlier in the year to play guard. So there's Quinn, now the 6th man for the offensive line. By the way, while we have this opportunity, we're told that Brett Jones has received an injury settlement from the New York Giants, released, and a free agent. Interesting.
I think there'll be a few teams interested there. In the meantime, we see some guys from defense switch to offense in this game this afternoon.
2nd and 10, and the pass incomplete. In and out of the hands of Anthony Parker, which means a 2 and out. And the Eskimos will get the football back.
Well, first of all, on first down, Patrick Watkins has seen that Jeff Fuller skinny post a few times, and he ran the route on first down, and that was just a flat drop by Anthony Parker, and may have had the first down from Bo Levi Mitchell. So you can't put really either on the quarterback there. He had faced great coverage on first down and then a drop on second.
Maber kicking to Lawrence, 34-yard kick. Lawrence trying to get outside, turns the corner and is out of bounds around midfield. So terrific field position this time for Darrell Walker and the Edmonton Eskimos, who need to get the offense going midway through the third quarter. Touchdown! His first CFL touchdown catch.
And you're watching the Labor Day Classic on TSN.
3 catches, 25 yards for Darrell Walker. Best field position start for Edmonton. And Franklin with the throw. And he's looking over at Darrell Walker, who has his 4th catch of the game. 35th in 4 games. Not even 4.
Textbook route here. And for the young guys watching this, you push your defensive back up and then come back hard to the football on the curl. But it's all about coming out of your stance full speed. Look at him take off up the field and make Joe Burnett turn and get out of his back pedal, and then turn and come back to the curl.
and get 10 yards. First down. Chad Simpson fumbled the football. Does he get back on it? Looks like he does. Just in front of Derek Wigan, the Stampeder defensive tackle.
And he's trying to work that out right now with James Franklin. It's on the quarterback to make sure he puts that ball in the right spot. The running back has to have his eyes up the field and looking for that hole. And James Franklin and Chad Simpson just had a little discussion. Let's see where that handoff came. It was a little bit high up in his shoulder pads.
2nd and 10. Out of the pocket, pressure on, ball's loose. And the Eskimos get back on it, and Simpson has fumble recoveries on back-to-back plays, but that's another 2 and out, and they went backwards on that drive.
Well, got what they wanted with the punt and then the 2 and out and better field position, way better field position, but went backwards. A late flag.
There is a flag down in front of the Eskimo bench. See what this is about. Was a loss of 18.
There is no infraction on the play. Will be 3rd down.
Pretty good speed leading tackler for the Calgary Stampeders, Deron Mayo, up there at the top of your screen. Now he steps up, and Chad Simpson's got to try to block him. Does it initially, but that little inside move when he saw Franklin try and get outside and run towards that sideline, closed quickly.
Hasn't had any answers for that Calgary defense today. Now Anthony Parker back. And Sean White with the boot. Parker lost that. And I think Eskimos had a shot at it. Calgary may have got it back. What an opportunity. That was Blair Smith that it bounced off him after Parker lost the handle. But who gets it back? And it's Lamar Durant, the rookie, who saves the day for the Stamps. That would have been a big turning point. Off Parker, off the Eskimos, and Durant at the bottom of the pile.
Anthony Parker's fighting it right now, and he, in that last series, that last play, dropped this punt right off his shoulder pads, just lost his focus, and I'm wondering about his confidence level after the 2nd down play on the previous series when he had this throw for Bo Levi Mitchell right in his hands and probably could have turned the corner, makes one man miss, and he gets a 1st down there. So now he's got to battle with those psychological demons. Get rid of that.
Stampeders fortunate to retain possession. They start at the 25, hand off to Harrison, and he gets crunched at the line of scrimmage.
What a hit. And you take a look at matchups that favor one team or the other. Now, this is a good football player, Marquay McDaniel, and solid money when it comes to catching the football, but he's asked to block Odell Willis, and that's not going to happen very often.
So it's 2nd and 10. Feels like the wind picking up. Mitchell throwing into it. And a pass for Fuller, a little sidestep, but unable to break away from Patrick Watkins and J.C. Sherritt. Another 2 and out. We've had a lot of those in this game on either side of this defensive struggle.
It seems to me the wind is picking up here a little bit in Calgary. It's in the face of the Stampeders right now. They're punting into it. So if it continues to build here, the Stamps will have it in the 4th quarter. It means that Edmonton has to try and take advantage while they have it. Try and get James Franklin into a rhythm.
And that hangs up a little bit in the wind, just a 30-yard punt. Kendall Lawrence going the wrong way, and Glenn Love takes him down. Stampeders with the lead, trying to win their 5th consecutive game and their 12th in a row. over the Edmonton Eskimos. The rematch next Saturday at Commonwealth.
Jam-packed McMahon Stadium, Labor Day Classic. Happy Labor Day weekend. Canadians across the country, a little cooler than we're used to,
Yeah. More problems for Franklin. Does get it off, and no, it's skipped incomplete. As he had to hurry the throw, even setting up a screen.
Well, he's made a difference. Charleston Hughes mentioned those 5 sacks in back-to-back games 2 years ago, then had an injury-plagued season and got his 7th in this one this afternoon. But it's been not just the sacks and the stats, it's been pressures.
2nd and 10. Stands in, delivers deep, and almost intercepted. Burnett was step for step with the intended target, Darrell Walker.
Yeah, Burnett was there, and he had help from Brandon Smith, the halfback, so they were basically vicing Darrell Walker, and this was just James Franklin now sort of in desperation with the wind at his back, saying they just see if his receiver can go up and make a play in the double team. But Burnett says, not on my shift.
So Sean White to punt. Again, the wind feels like it's picking up, and White sends that to Burnett. 44-yard punt, and a fumble. Flag down. And who comes up with it? Looks like the Eskimos have got the football. Again, a flag. And does Chris Jones get the special team play he was looking for?
The flag is in the no yards area, although we've seen illegal blocks down there too. But I don't think there was an Eskimo in the 5-yard restraining zone.
It's like the call is going against Calgary.
Illegal block, Calgary. That penalty's declined. There was a fumble on the play recovered by Edmonton. First down.
Andre Prue is just waiting for confirmation of the turnover from the command center.
So no 5-yard rule there. There was an illegal block against Calgary, and Jordan Lynch again.
Forced fumble. Big opportunity. Edmonton starts at the 28. Franklin firing it. Goal line incomplete, wanted Bowman. And there's Joe Burnett again, and he's had quite an afternoon against his old team.
Well, he's been in such great position that there's no spot for Franklin to get the ball. I mean, he's trying to get the ball out there to Darius Bowman. He puts him out at the wide receiver on the short side of the field, and he's got the one-on-one with Burnett, number 24. But watch the great inside position. Doesn't bite on the double move. Now he's staying on the outside shoulder with inside help from the safety, Josh Bell.
2nd and 10. And the pass is caught. Walker trying to stretch out. Burnett there. And that should be enough for a first down.
Boy, he had to go up and get that. That was a tough catch by Darrell Walker, because he's running the out here. And that ball is thrown to the inside, and he has to reach around and come back and go up and get that. Knowing that Joe Burnett's coming, he just sits on that curl, and then look out to climb the ladder.
Last 2 catches, exactly 10 yards. And so the Eskimos move into the red zone for the first time today. Here's Franklin looking into the corner of the end zone and overthrows Devin Bailey, but terrific coverage from Fred Bennett, the Western All-Star, on the corner.
Right now for Edmonton, the run game is an afterthought. And they are just back there slinging it with the quarterback in his 2nd start in the Canadian Football League. And McIndoe saying without Shakir Bell, they might as well just throw it.
James Franklin, 50% completion. 13 of 26 for 105. Looking at 2nd and 10 and trying to change the play in the McMahon dim. Stafford can't hear the call.
And it's a quarterback draw. And it's not going anywhere. Deron Mayo. But a flag down. Did he even get the play off?
Yeah, did he get it snapped in time? Trying to change it on the line, and then the crowd here at McMahon Stadium, they jump in and get involved, and they make it tough for him to audible.
Holding. Edmonton, number 60. Penalties decline. Third down.
Well, they got it off just in time, and then the holding call, but against the center, Justin Sorensen. Deron Mayo had that quarterback draw sniffed out. He was going to get there in a hurry and did. Again, this time, Edmonton emptied the backfield, so no Chad Simpson even back there as an option.
Sean White comes on to attempt his first field goal as an Edmonton Eskimo. And Grant Shaw, calf injury in practice late in the week, gives White the opportunity. And his first is a 23-yard field goal to make it a 9-point Stampeder lead. '135th U.S. Open continues tonight. Round of 16 action. Catch the matches beginning at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on TSN2. Unseasonably cool here for Labor Day. All the Labor Day games we've done together, usually
hot.
the weather is warm, sunny.
It was hot in Toronto and Hamilton for the first game.
Stampeders have had a rough second half offensively. A throwback here to Walter. And J.C. Sherritt closes quickly to bring Walter down at the 41-yard line.
You know, Dexter McCoyle got out of there. He didn't make the tackle, but he got out there because he saw offensive lineman Shane Bergman get out in front of Matt Walter and was, I'm sure, wondering, as I was, why if Bo Levi Mitchell is rolling to his right, is there a lineman way over here on the left side? That was just a good defensive read there.
2nd and 4, 3 possessions, 3 punts for Calgary, second half. Matt Walter not going to get there, stopped short. Gregory Alexandra, Marcus Howard.
How short
on the tackle? Looks like it's going to be 3rd and 2.
I wondered if John Huffnagel was thinking about it here, but in his own end and 2, no way.
And the third 2 and out of this second half for Calgary, and Maver has to punt into this wind one more time as the third quarter is about to come to an end.
When you punt into the wind, you can try and drive it low, but that also means the returner gets it quicker. Oh, not this time.
Oh, this really hangs up. An indication wind has been a difference, and Watkins fields it. It'll be a no yards call, and Patrick Watkins not usually a return man.
Heads up play by Pat Watkins, though, because Maver was hustling down to try and get it.
Better be careful. He actually threw the ball casually at a Stampeder, but we've seen that called. Instead, just the no yards against Calgary. And Andre Prue telling us we're going to get one more play because of the penalty. So Edmonton gets one last offensive play with the wind here in the third quarter.
Best drive of the game for Edmonton started with Kendall Lawrence, and Chris Jones may have to go back and try and get his utility back involved in the offense. Those high percentage throws.
Pressure underneath and the pass behind. Darrell Walker with pressure, and that will do it for the third quarter. Stampeders holding on to a 9-point lead. Rick Wilson, the lone touchdown. Well, maybe not the only one. Calgary with the lead, 13-4, headed to the fourth. Well, if you like stingy defense and not much offense, this could be called a classic.
Yeah, well, sometimes the defense wins, and Bo Levi Mitchell, last 2 series, 2 and out. Those are
middle-of-the-road numbers for him, and the Edmonton Eskimos just can't get anything going offensively. It looks to me now like James Franklin is starting to see ghosts. Sometimes it's not even pressure, and he's bouncing around and rushing throws.
And without a run game to help rely on, more pressure here. And is that another grounding call? They're ruling incomplete. And just avoiding a sack. But another 2 and out for a struggling Edmonton team. Okay, I wasn't going to ask, but I will.
Okay.
Under any circumstances, while considering the circumstances, would you consider a quarterback who hasn't played since week 1, just coming back off a knee injury, to finish up with the way the Eskimos are struggling?
I don't know about that.
Joe Burnett back, and that's going to be a 15-yard, no yards penalty against Edmonton after a 38-yard punt into the wind by Sean White.
Mike Riley's number 3 on the depth chart today. I don't know about rushing him. They say maybe next week, so it would be rushing him to get him into this game, and now it's colder here in Calgary. He hasn't played for 3 quarters, isn't warm. I doubt we'll see him.
We're told there was some soft tossing on the sidelines. He was riding the bike earlier, but he just to stay loose. It's getting chilly, isn't it?
Bowman might just be catching a couple.
Well,
maybe he's trying to loosen him up.
Not saying, just saying.
Just saying.
There's Bo putting that one up, and it falls incomplete. Intended for McDaniel, but great coverage there from Aaron Grimes.
This is more than soft tossing. This looks like a quarterback trying to loosen up here in the 4th. Sarah Orleski on our sideline mentioned in the first quarter that he was very close to returning. That's why he's dressed. And Chris Jones said he wants to make sure he's 100%, which he's not quite. But do they rush him?
Only by Mitchell, only 2 completions second half. In trouble here, and dropped back at the 20-yard line. Flags flying, and Armando Sewell tumbling after the sack.
Illegal block, ends to the face, Calgary number 50. Penalties decline, 3rd down.
That's Spencer Wilson, and it's 4 consecutive 2 and outs for Calgary. Their offense is stalled.
4-man pressure from Edmonton here, but it's Odell Willis on a little bit of a stunt with Sewell, and he gets there. So see the hand to the face right in the middle of your picture on Wilson.
2nd sack of the season for Sewell, 25th career sack for the CFL defensive tackle. Kendall Lawrence scrambles to the 50, good field position. And it is going to be Mike Riley.
Good question.
On cue for the Eskimos in the 4th quarter. Well, we were not expecting to see Mike Riley today. Let's check in on the sidelines again, Sarah Orleski.
Well, Chris, with about 3 minutes left in the 3rd quarter, I started to notice Mike Riley becoming more active on the sidelines. He was stretching. He started to do some light throwing. Still not necessarily expecting to see him in, but then I saw him go up, speak with Jarius Jackson, then have a few brief words with Chris Jones, and then Jarius Jackson came back in. Came over, spoke to him, and I saw Mike Riley mouth to somebody, "I'm going in," and now he's back.
Sounds like he made the call.
Knee injury week 1, first game back, play action, and he throws it to Kendall Lawrence with a flag, drops the ball, but out of bounds. Does Calgary touch it last? I don't think so, but there is a flag. And Josh Bell does a little dance, thinking he might have been last to touch it. Offside against Edmonton.
Offside. Edmonton, number 81, 5-yard penalty. Still 1st down.
Yeah, based on the conversation with Chris Jones yesterday and based on, what we know about where Mike Riley's at, which is not at 100%, which he wanted him before he put him back in the lineup, this is a surprise. But it sounds, as Sarah mentioned, like he made the call and said to his coach and the coaching staff, hey, I'm going to go in. I'll give it a shot here in the 4th quarter.
Down by 9, trying to break an 11-game losing streak against your arch rivals in the competitive room. Look at him go. 50-yard line, and the ball comes loose at the end. But it looks like a first down run, and that is just Mike Riley.
Well, but again, like now is he limping on that leg a little bit and
wearing a brace.
He's got the brace on. I mentioned how cold it's become. He's been sitting for 3 quarters, and in his second snap takes off and runs, and then takes a hit. Josh Bell coming from the safety spot. Now Matt Dunnigan will tell you if you're dressed, you should be available to play.
I was just thinking about Matt and Buck Pierce, guys like that. Just don't change the colors, do they? Here's a shot downfield. Boom, it's got it. Brings it in, and with the veteran quarterback back, the Eskimos are in the red zone just like that.
Second layer, he's going to have one on the shallow post underneath, and that's Darrell Walker. Goes behind him to the deeper post. Bowman fights it, but catches it on the second try, and Mike Riley steps up to his first deep throws on his return.
37-yard strike, and it's a first down Edmonton. Down at the 12. Short drop, pressure on, and he runs out of the pocket and down at around the 10-yard line for 1 or 2 on the play.
All of a sudden, a new beast to try and corral when you're Rich Stubler in this Calgary Stampeder defense. The veteran back in there, you see a little bit of a lift, and the entire offense, a bit more of a jump in their step. And then the big play on Bowman, they've got a little momentum here. Can they finish the drive?
Kendall Lawrence is the running back. 2nd and 9. Short drop, open man, drop ball, Devin Bailey. Would have been a first down and probably a touchdown.
Wide open, Devin Bailey. No excuses, flat out drop, wide open, and probably scores, or at least gets down the first down territory and to the 1-yard line.
Mike Riley's back in charge. And now to get them within 6. White puts it through. And we've got a game with just under 10 and a half minutes to go. 13-7. Stampeders have the lead. Got some rain now. The temperature has dipped to 8 degrees, but the temperature of this football game has been raised by Mike Riley. Rain falling, and without any returners available, Calgary takes the ball at the 35-yard line. First down. Mitchell over the middle, and Eric Rogers brings it down. Big catch by the leading receiver in the Canadian Football League.
Well, we know he's a great route runner. He's excellent in the red zone, can score touchdowns, can get down the field in a hurry. He's a deep threat. Now we know he plays with great courage, too, because he had to have that to get up there over the middle, extend himself, expose his rib cage. He doesn't get hit. Ryan Hines was playing the ball, but Eric Rogers is back.
6 catches, 67 yards, and just the second first down of the second half. Matt Walter crashing across midfield and down to the Edmonton 50.
It's almost like Bo Levi Mitchell saw Mike Riley come on, make a couple of plays, and went, okay, their leader's back. I got to get back on track. He had a couple of 2-and-outs, almost like they took their foot off any type of pedal, gas pedal, and now there's a little bit of a sense of urgency all of a sudden because 13's active.
Fuller to the sidelines. Mitchell looked to the bench to get the call. What do they have on 2nd and 4? Fake to Walter down the sidelines and incomplete. Wanted Greg Wilson.
In his hip pocket was the all-CFL corner, Pat Watkins.
And that was right down the sideline on the Edmonton bench, and I think Watkins got a ball call because he reacts without knowing that the ball's in the air. He's going to play that press. Now he's running with them. He gets the ball call, and watch him flip his hips and turn around and look for the football. And it goes right off the top of his helmet.
Another 2 and out. Or excuse me, not a 2 and out that time. Look. Neighbor with the kick again inside the 10, as he has done so well all year. That's the 9th time he's hit it down inside the 10-yard line with no return. But Watkins with the defensive play.
Garth Brooks in the commercial break. Little friends in low places. Labor Day Monday.
Not sure Mike Riley has many friends here in the stadium, but he could become part of Labor Day lore if he could engineer a touchdown drive here in the 4th quarter, starting inside his own 10-yard line.
Difference I see just in a couple series already is that Mike Riley is more running the offense and making his reads, and it looked like James Franklin was looking for Darrell Walker first. And if he wasn't there, was in trouble.
Get 6 on first down. The one thing he talked about this week was not having his timing back with his receivers. So he's got to be a quick study. 2nd and 4. Pumps, looks the other way, nobody open. And he takes off and runs for a first down. Well, he may not be 100% Mike Riley, but we're getting the kind of play from Mike Riley that we are used to.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he has an issue when he goes and runs, but he does when he kind of gets back to the huddle. You see a little bit of a limp, but you could tell he can feel the pocket coming apart a little bit, and that's when he takes off. He knows where the first down marker is, and we've seen that many times from Riley.
First down. Out of the pocket again, throws incomplete. Looking for Chad Simpson as the release valve. 2nd and 10.
That's the concern for Chris Jones. Every time he gets hit, if he wasn't quite ready, is he able to avoid the rush? But it's Labor Day. It's first place on the line. It's the Battle of Alberta. So you pull out all the stops and you get your starter back in there.
Second and 10. 3 receivers near side. Guns it over the middle, and it's complete to Bowman. Catch number 400 for Adarius Bowman will move the chains for the Edmonton Eskimos.
Mike Riley was on the bench in the first 3 quarters. He would sit beside, every time Adarius Bowman came off the field, he would sit right beside Mike Riley. He's got his starting quarterback back. It's the second big play since Riley's return.
Riley's generated 4 first downs since coming in. Stamps have 2 in the second half. Underneath, pass is caught. And it's Corey Watson with his first catch of the game. Up at the 45-yard line, he has 6.
That's the difference between the veteran and James Franklin, who's in his second start. He's reading the defense. He's going through his progressions. He's taking a look at his first option. If he's not there, he goes to his second. Now, Rich Stubler's going to have to start changing things up a little bit, play a little more disguised defense against Riley.
And looks like the wind has died down here. 2nd and 4 at the Edmonton 45. 4 receivers near side, and play is halted.
Prior to the ball being snapped, timeout was called by Edmonton.
So the timeout saves the time count. And this is Rich Stubler. Remember, we just mentioned that, talk about trying to disguise a little bit and showing different looks, and Stubler does that, causing Edmonton to take a timeout here. They put Deron Mayo up in the line and then stunted him around the outside. Didn't like what they saw, so I want to take the time count. So they reload 2nd and 4. And movement again. Looked like Tony Washington, the left tackle, former Stampeder, brought into the Canadian Football League by John
Edmonton,
Huffnagel.
number 58, 5-yard penalty. It remains 2nd down.
I would suggest that there's a couple of reasons for that. One could be the fact that they've got a new quarterback in, one they haven't heard his voice for some time, so maybe a little bit getting used to again. And the other is that 39 was playing off on the other side of the line, and he's been in that backfield a few times here this afternoon. I'm taking answer B. Oh, it's 2nd and goal, in trouble, and they get to him. Here he is. On cue. Charleston Hughes has another sack. And that's at least 2. Boy, locked into him, and it was against Tony Washington, and watch him come around the horn with great quickness, his active hands, knocking Washington's hands down. Comes around and has the speed to close before Riley could step up. 8th sack of the season for Hughes. White back into the game to punt. Not as much of a breeze as had been in the 3rd quarter. Burnett fields it. 41-yard punt. And good cover by the Eskimos to limit the return. If you wait a few minutes in Calgary, the weather will change, and it seems to be brightening again as well.
Big shout out, baby. Everybody in the whole wide world.
That covers it.
That's over.
That's not family, not just Calgary fans. Everybody in the world got a little hello there. Sack number 70 in a distinguished 8-year career here in Calgary. Here's Bo Levi Mitchell, rolling right, gets it in the hands of McDaniel, and J.C. Sherritt is on the scene to bring him down at the 42. So a pickup of 6 for McDaniel. Marquay McDaniel was the target there, and this play was designed to get it to him on time, and the timing was off because Marquay McDaniel couldn't get there. A little play action there. Here comes McDaniel. He runs into defensive lineman right there, and Willie Jefferson can't get out in time, so he's going to wait. There he is. 6 catches, 70 yards for McDaniel. 2nd and 4. Mitchell bouncing around in the pocket, now on a roll, and he's got Jeff Fuller, 1st down. And a nice play by Bo Levi Mitchell to extend it till somebody comes open. Yeah, extend it, Chris, and also the pump fake helps him too. He's going to escape this way, and he's waiting for Jeff Fuller to open up here and just find a little spot, but the pump fakes freeze him right there. It takes McCoyle to the sideline and gives Fuller that little area in the middle. He catches it, turns upfield, he's got the 1st down.
They had been sputtering, just the 3rd 1st down in the 2nd half for the Stamps. At their 49, they swing it out. It's McDaniel again. And Marcel Young brings him down up near midfield. Gain of 6 by McDaniel. Eskimos trying to mount a comeback, but Charleston Hughes gets to the quarterback. And we're down to 3 minutes to go here in the Labor Day Classic.
Hey y'all, I'm Bo Levi Mitchell, the Calgary Stampeders.
1st down for Calgary, 1st trip to the red zone. And Bo Levi Mitchell, keeper, touchdown!
And you're watching the Labor Day Classic on TSN.
Bo trying to win his 23rd game in 27 starts, his 2nd straight on Labor Day. 22 of 34, 244 yards in the game.
Closing in on 300, even though it doesn't feel that way.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that at all. 2nd and 5. Under pressure, over the middle, and not much there. Catch made by Harrison. J.C. Sherritt was on the scene. Gain of 1 or 2. It's going to be 3rd down.
Odell Willis with his patented spin move. He comes up, spins around, and he's back there in the backfield working on Fader Kyle. Spin move causes problems. Both just have to try and get rid of it, and they can't get the first down territory. Sometimes the defense wins. Another win for the D.
You're right about that Calgary weather. Flags are still now. Sun's out. Feels a little warmer. Kick by Maver, fielded by Lawrence. A 46-yard boot, and almost nothing on the return. Glenn Love back on the teams for Calgary. He's done a good job today.
And you mentioned what is possible here to add to the Labor Day history, and I think back to the big games like Jeff Garcia and his 6 touchdown passes. If Mike Riley can rally this offense, drive the field in 2 minutes, you got to add this one to the list. It's a long way to go and a good defense to beat. See if he can do it.
Yards from where they want to be, and pass for Bowman incomplete. In behind him with the safety Josh Bell and Brandon Smith there defensively.
So Rich Stubler, a little disguise. We've seen this guy do this a ton, right? Well, what does he do this time? He drops back. That's Charleston Hughes. So Stubler now giving the veteran quarterback some different looks.
Somebody's shaken up, though, and taking a knee, and is that Micah Johnson? And you always have concern when you see him because a history of knee issues, a couple of ACL injuries, and this a delayed reaction before he went down. And
hey, looks like he'll be okay.
Looks like he'll be okay.
Upset that he can't play the next 3 snaps. Got to sit out when the training staff comes out to get you. You got to sit out for 3 plays minimum.
Well, we're used to this kind of tension late. By the way, lowest scoring Labor Day Classic 1961. The Eskimos won 10-9. This one in that vicinity. 2nd down. Riley time, loads it up, got a bend, and is it intercepted? No, incomplete. Brandon Smith recovered. Kenny Stafford got in behind, and the pass just underthrown.
Stafford got in behind. Riley, by the time he got there, had to just try and launch this and underthrew it a little bit. And I'm wondering if Brandon Smith tried to tip this to Keon Raymond. It almost looked like he saw his teammate closing and went up and tried to just sort of keep it alive and volley it to him. And it looked like he got a little shaken up as he went down. Stafford was in behind coverage, but a nice close and recovery by Brandon Smith.
And Smith remains down and under one of those core 8-year guys who have been with this team since their first cup with John Huffnagel. We'll go to tsn.ca/CFL Fantasy to set your roster for a chance to win a trip to the Grey Cup and a Joseph Abboud suit from Moores. Every pick counts. Make yours today. Get the rematch next Saturday at Commonwealth. Argos and Ticats will renew hostilities in Toronto. Get the Banjo Bowl. And Ottawa will be in BC to wrap up next week's action.
Now Chris Jones needs a big kick here and a quick 2-and-out from his defense. They're going to get Riley one more shot.
Joe Burnett waiting around midfield. Danger here is that Calgary is going to be in great field position to start. Burnett fields it on the Edmonton 48, so a 35-yard punt. So they're almost in field goal range now with a chance to seal the deal.
Exactly, Chris. You talk about even just almost don't even need first down, just about 6-7 yards for a comfortable field goal. Any little bit of wind left is at the back of the Stampeders. Don't be surprised at all to see Chris Jones here load up the line of scrimmage, and whether it's run or pass, just sort of sell out on the line.
On the ground for Walter. Stamp's going to play it close to the vest.
Run the clock.
Stampeders 3-0 against Western opposition. Trying to go to 6-0 here at home.
Right now it's a 51-yard field goal attempt for Calgary if they don't advance it any further. Whether or not they try that or
and that
try
would be
and kick
a
it to the corner. Yeah, exactly.
So 2nd and 8. They will throw. And Rogers secures the football, has the catch. Short of the first down, but makes the Rennie Paredes field goal attempt a little more makeable.
Makeable, more comfortable than 51, obviously. His longest 50, this will be pushing that 50 on the year, I should say, and he's at the
timeout, Edmonton.
45 with the tee. Now Chris Jones calls the timeout. Got the 2 and out he needs.
Flag's almost still now. But Paredes from 45 yards out drew Tate the holder. And this should seal the deal if Paredes can put it through.
Do your yard, Robbie.
And no doubt about it. Clutch kick, Rennie Paredes. 9-point lead for Calgary.
Based on what just occurred in the last sort of offensive series for Edmonton, and then 2 plays for Calgary and the long field goal attempt by Paredes, does Hufnagel have control of the weather in Calgary? Because he got a nice sunny no-wind kick opportunity for his kicker. He puts it through, no mistake, and that's a big one.
And Paredes now 8 for 8 from 40 yards or beyond this season.
3 minutes ago, it was pouring rain and a swirling wind.
So the Eskimos need 2 scores. Got to make things happen quickly. And there's Bowman to get it down in Calgary territory at the 50. So, not done yet. Eskimos looking to score into the hurry-up, and then to get a short kickoff away. Got some work to do. Adam Berger is into the secondary now, and Darrell Walker, the intended target, was jostling on the play along with Joe Burnett, and the ball falls incomplete.
They ran into each other.
Yeah.
And there was no flag for illegal contact here, but the 2 players ran into each other down at the bottom of the screen here. Joe Burnett and Darrell Walker. Edmonton fans are saying, wait a minute, that was Burnett getting in the way. Calgary fans saying, no, Walker ran into him. No flag.
2nd and 10. Riley airing it out again. Deep downfield for Bailey, incomplete with Fred Burnett in coverage. So it'll be 3rd and 10 Edmonton. Burnett a little slow to get up, or Fred Bennett, excuse me.
Well, he just got on his horse, Bennett, and took off on the deep ball, knowing it's desperation time for Edmonton. Back-to-back deep throws from Riley.
Mike Riley, 5 of 11, 90 yards in relief. 3rd and 10, high pass, incomplete. Berger there to help break it up. Intended for Bowman, and that's going to do it.
Came in as the extra DB, and you're right, Adam Berger here, he's seen this play run by Bowman since Riley came in a couple of times where he's just going to bend in here, and this time, rather than stay deep and allow Bowman to get that inside position, he jumps the route. And this is basically playing the play because you've seen it a couple of times.
John Hufnagel's team has found a way once again. 12th consecutive victory over their Alberta rivals. Mitchell takes a knee. Nissan Titan Player of the Game brought to you by Nissan, the official vehicle of the Canadian Football League.
Sometimes the defense wins, and a big game by Charleston Hughes. No surprise there, 2 sacks. He now has 8 on the season, 5 tackles, but it was the pressures as well, forcing quick throws from James Franklin. I thought he caused Franklin to see ghosts tonight too. He was just in the backfield and set up camp there.
Maybe a 3rd sack. One of those tackles was...
Scared the cameraman. I saw you jump.
Scared me too. One of those tackles was right at the line of scrimmage, and they'll review that to see if he has 3 sacks. Most importantly, the Calgary Stampeders have 8 wins. Ball game and another Labor Day Classic goes to John Hufnagel and the Calgary Stampeders. 12th consecutive win over the Eskimos, and they'll do it all over again at Commonwealth next Saturday.